Welcome to the Level 1 Padworks DVD. This is part of the Neurocombative Conditioning course. What we're going to be doing on this DVD is some drills that will allow you to work different combatively relevant attributes, that will allow you to develop some objective, verifiable skills, that will massively increase your confidence, that will massively improve your ability to hit with effect, with power and with some speed. And you're also going to find that your aggression levels raise up. Safety first, look after your partner, train safely, train intelligently, train in accordance with the objectives. On each and every section, for each and every drill I give you on this video tutorial, you are given your objectives. Stick to them. Because I wanted to cram a lot into this video tutorial, it does move quickly. What I expect you to do is to go back and study each section, and I expect you to follow the instructions to the letter. I guarantee you, if you do, you will have very, very fulfilling workouts. Your combative attributes will spike, your confidence will come up, and so will that usable, cold, focused aggression that we're going for.
So the first drill that we're going to look at is the violence intent shot placement drill. This is explained in great detail in the violence intent video tutorials, but if you haven't seen them, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you exactly what to do for this drill in just a moment. The core objectives are to anchor aggression to movement and to get used to hitting another human being and to being hit by another human being without any pads, without any other equipment there. It's important that you understand the factors and the objectives for each drill. This drill is to be done slowly, the contact level is high, there is no equipment, so the symbolic level is 0, the impact is low, the resistance is 0, and the improvisation for this drill at this level is minimal. If you go and look at the violence intent drills, you'll see there's a ton of different ways in which you can incorporate elements of improvisation. At the beginning and at the end of each session that you do of your pads, please sandwich the session at the beginning and at the end with these shot placement drills. So the shot placement drill itself, as you can see, you're doing with no equipment. You're pushing through the target, you're using the right weapon to the right target with the right timing and the right movement. The resistance level shown here is absolutely minimal. What I would like you to do is to respond for your partner as though you had been hit, so that he has to change his weapons and his tool and his range depending on where the body has moved to. If we do too much pad work, we can get a false sense of how and where the body will be responding and how and where the human body will move to next. Pads are actually quite a poor representation of how hitting the human body will play out in the real world, which is why I want you to sandwich every pad session with these shot placement drills to make sure your neurology is being drilled properly to hit the human being, not the pad. So the first drill that's to do with Padworks that we're going to look at, beyond the neurocombative conditioning shot placement drill, is called the unflinching drill. If at any time you find yourself or your partner flinching, then I want you to do this drill. It's to increase your confidence that if you get hit, you're not going to die, you'll be okay, whether it's a body shot or up in your face. What I'm showing you here is the reactions I don't want you to have. I don't want you flicking your arms up, throwing your hands up, turning your face away, turning your head away, or dropping your head down in an uncontrolled way. All of these things are very natural, very normal, that occur in people who are not used to doing pad work drills. If the pad is coming flying to your face and your response is anything other than to tie cover, to guard up, or duck whilst maintaining eye contact with the attacker, then you must go back and do this drill. It's also a lot of fun because you really do realise, oh, you know, it's not that bad. If a person were to do this drill, they must shut their teeth. You must have your jaw closed, and the person who is applying these shots must know what they're doing. You've got to be very gentle with this stuff because repeated shots to the head can cause damage. Again, you can see I'm demonstrating how not to do it, where I just turn my face away. Just try and relax. It's a psychological drill and it's a physical drill. So at the first level, you do it with your hands behind your back. At the second level, you have your hands behind your back, but you lean forward. You actually lean forward, and at this level you have kind of a guard position, but it's low enough that he can hit you, and you keep staring just below his throat. Quick note about holding the pads correctly. I don't care how many pro fighters of MMA or boxing you've seen training in this way, do not do it. Do not bring the pad to the man. The man must come to the pad. We're not training for boxing, we're not training for MMA, we're not training for kickboxing here. Even though we use similar movements, don't get confused. You must hold the pad with some dynamic tension. Do not hit him in the hand. Do not hit the person who's doing the strikes in the hand. Don't bring the target to him. He needs to come to the target. When you're holding the pads, don't hold them too far apart. Hold them fairly close. The basic strikes that are covered in the Neurocombative Conditioning Padwork course level 1 are as follows. It's a straight left, sometimes referred to as a jab, but you'll notice I'm stepping as I punch, and I'm moving my jab from left to right. This makes it a knockout shot, and I'm still delivering the jab with my hip. Same thing with my right cross, with my straight right. I'm using my right hip to generate force. Left elbow can either come straight across the horizontal plane, or you can put a little bit of a curve on it as well if you like. It's very important that the elbow remains tense and the shoulder remains completely fluid. The other strikes on this course are just a simple hook. One of the most important elements of this is that your elbow remain high. The higher your elbow, the better chance you've got of causing a knockout. And our primary objective is still to cause a knockout. When you're working your knees, keep it nice and simple. They don't need to have the long style of a traditional Muay Thai knee. They can just go straight up and into the target. That's fine. Okay, drill number 3 is the basic drill. This is the last drill I'm going to show you that is quite plain before we get into more street specific drills. It's deliberately very basic. It's for the practicing of elemental strikes and to get the fluidity of your basic movements as high as possible. The stimulus is just neutral pads, and the response is a jab across a knee, a tie turn, and then another knee. Couldn't be simpler. What we're looking for here is for you to have drilled the basics deeply into your neurology, so you're not making any mistakes, any of the basic beginner level mistakes that you'll often see. I'm going to go through these basic level beginner mistakes with you in a second. What we want to see here is fluidity, confidence, aggression, not getting overexcited, staying nice and calm, nice efficiency of movement. I usually, be warned, I'll usually use this as a warm-up drill before I do a seminar, or if I'm doing personal training with somebody. And one of the reasons why is because it allows me to split the room very, very quickly into who's got more experience than the rest of the class. It really allows you to see how used to moving in a combative context people are. So this is actually a very plain, normal drill. Every drill after this is going to have more of a street flavour, but it's very important that you cover the basics. We all want to get into complexity and into street level funkiness, but really guys, I cannot stress this enough. You must have your basics down before you move forward. You need to learn to crawl before you walk and walk before you run.
Hey guys, we'll go through the basic mistakes now that I see very, very frequently that I particularly want you to avoid. Number 1, mistake number 1 is T-rexing. This is where the hands are brought close into the body. When people are not confident and they're not sure of what they're doing, the tendency will be for the body to try and go defensive. You know, but if you study psychology, you study body language, you'll know that when people cover their throats, cover their internal organs, you know, either by crossing here, it's usually a reflection of not feeling confident. But where the body goes, the mind must follow, and I want you to anchor confidence and aggression to doing these drills. So don't T-rex, don't bring your arms up and in here, and don't be all straight with your chin up. Learn to fold your chin down, to curve the spine, to sink your body weight. So you must bend your legs in order to do that. Don't always be here, you know, all the time trying to bring your arms back into your body. Learn to get comfortable bringing your elbows away from your body a little bit more and relax and sink the chin down and start learning to look forward almost through your eyebrows. You almost want to be looking at the opponent through your eyebrows because that will force you to tilt the chin away. We really want to keep this back and we want to get you used to working with your chin back. Your basic stance, go lower, go lower, go lower. Whatever it is you want to do comfortably, please go lower. And do be square on. This isn't boxing. This has more resemblance to a standard MMA stance than it would to a boxing or a kickboxing stance. It's not Muay Thai. We're not we're not back weighted. You want to be front weighted a little bit, 70 to 30%. So 70% front, 30% back, because you're driving forward. You always want to be driving forward. You want your elbows slightly up and out from your body, and I want you to get used to having your hands away from you. Because if you're not used to doing these drills, you will T-Rex. You will try and bring your hands in into a defensive position and you'll be here turning away. Never turn away. Keep everything out, forward, hips, feet, eyes, nose, chin, shoulders, elbows, hands. They're all facing forward towards the padman all the time, facing towards the opponent. And that's to represent this idea of applying some kind of offensive pressure at any time, being available there to do that, having that emotional intensity. So learn, as a good solo drill, just learn to stand in this position, confident, relaxed and aggressive, with your elbows away from your body, your spine curved, looking through the eyebrows, chin down, here, 70-30% roughly, 70% on the front foot, 30% on the back foot, ready to move forward and to apply these weapons. Another mistake that I see a lot of, again this is back to your psychology, but it manifests as a physical problem, is people get excited and they start to flick. So as they're doing the pad drills, they're coming up here, the energy starts to get higher and higher and tighter in the chest, the arms are up here and you'll get tired, you'll wear out doing that. Don't flick. We're not sport boxers. So it has its place, it's not semi-contact, that also has its place. What we're looking to do is we're trying to knock people out with every shot. So when you see me move and you see Raj move, you could say it kind of looks a little bit like a sloppy form of Thai boxing or a sloppy form of boxing, because instead of being nice and tight where you should be in boxing, say for a jab, we'll use jab as an example, instead of coming straight down the pipe and straight back to guard with as much speed and power coming back to guard as I did delivering it out, we actually leave it out there. And you corkscrew a little bit. All of your shots should corkscrew. Why? Because I'm trying to knock you out. So when I said on the clip before, with your jab or your straight left, whatever you want to call it, it comes from my left to my right. From my left to my right. From outside to in. And so does my right cross. So even though it's straight, we're not just delivering straight like a good boxer would, we're actually hooking it or curving it a little bit. And the reason for that is this, we're hitting across the jaw. You're drilling to hit across the jaw. You don't snap back because you actually want the dissipation of energy, so you follow through. So we have time on target and time through the target. So instead of this, bang, with a boxing glove on, there's a point, there's a point. Instead of that, what we want is this, displacement. Displace and penetrate the target. In order to do that, stand square on, sink your weight, bang, and you rip through, and you step. You should be stepping with every shot, and if you can't step or even jump with each shot, you use your hips to make up for that lack of step. The more body movement and leg movement I have coming through my hands, the more power will come through my hands. To a degree, the greater the distance the weapon travels, the more power it will generate and the more effect it will generate. That doesn't mean I want to see you going, Though I have seen a guy teach a karate for the Street DVD where he was throwing palm strikes, literally, like this. It was the same, do you remember Keith Hackney versus Emmanuel Yarbrough from UFC 4, the big sumo wrestler, and Keith Hackney got hold of his front hand and slapped him over the top. The same instructor, it's called White Crane Karate or something like that. But they're right in principle, because the further this goes and the more my body is moving, bang, the more power there is. But also the further this goes, the more I'm telegraphing and the more you can see. So we need to find something in the middle. I'm not asking you on this DVD to be training like this. I'm saying if you're going to throw a punch, don't just keep it tight. Do let it be a little bit loose and come around and in that style that you see, like, Diaz. You know, he's got this really weird punching style where it looks like his elbows are flopping up, but actually it makes it more of a chance of a knockout shot. So corkscrew the shots a little bit. Bob Chanchin used to do the same thing, Fedor would do the same thing. They're hitting across, not just straight forward, and you get more knockouts that way. Chocolate Dal, same thing. So don't flick, follow through. Don't flick, keep following through. So when you see us moving, where we should be here, bang, 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 and everything tight, straight back to guard, what you'll actually see is some of this, which you go, that's a classic boxing mistake. My jab, I make extra large. And you go, in boxing, a boxing coach would have a go at me for that. However, you do see pro boxers do that. So there is a gap between how we actually train beginners and how things are done in the real world. So don't flick, don't get flicky. Follow through, follow through. So you're delivering a boxing or Muay Thai style strike, but with a karate level of intensity. Okay, so it's a right cross and it's looping, but I'm not going here, it's bang! And that is time on target, allows the dissipation of energy and follow through. The same way as you see in baseball, they don't go here and pull back, they hit through, bang, right the way through. Tennis, same thing, follow through, follow through. Don't flick, don't poke at the target, displace and penetrate the target and displace and penetrate the opponent. Ooh, sounds dodgy. When you're holding the pads, as the pad man, switch on. This is not, oh, I'm not working now, so I'll just fucking switch off. Be there for your partner, for fuck's sake. Drives me crazy. When he's hitting the pads, don't hit him in hand. Use dynamic tension. He comes to you. Don't keep stepping into him. If you're working for strikes, you need to come back, and also you need to step back. Because in the real world, when somebody gets punched, if you crack me across the jaw, boom, I have to step back. Don't I? If you crack me across the jaw, it'd be weird for me to step forward. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and we have other drills. This is a basic level drill video tutorial, guys. We have other drills that prepare you for that. Because it will happen. You'll crack somebody, bang, and either their momentum or just strength drives them into you. But if your opponent's head is here, you're not going to be trying to do a right cross. So as the pad man, don't feed a right cross at this range of the pads. Don't be, if my opponent is here on the screen and I feed the pad here, that's too close. It needs to be here because he needs to extend his arm. Okay? So stand outside of arm's reach, shuffle backwards, make them chase you. You should always be travelling. In your fucking shot placement drills, in your violence intent drills, in your pad drills, travel, 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 travel. Get used to hitting and moving your feet and moving your whole body. We're all too static, and that's not going to prepare you for the ambiguity and awkwardness of a fight. Okay, so hold the pads flat. When you're holding for hooks, hold it like that. So when I say flat, I mean flat to his knuckles. I mean flat to whatever weapon he's using. For an elbow, it's 45 degrees. So his elbow can go across it. For an uppercut, different people hold different ways. Some people hold like this. I was always drilled to hold like that for the Thai pads and relax. I don't hit down on hooks and uppercuts. Do not fucking hit his hands. You will cause injuries like that. If your mate is hooking you, that is not a kind thing to do, and a human being, when he's being hooked in the jaw, won't go fuck off and hit with his jaw, will he? So, you know, we're getting away from the reality. Let it go, and especially on the uppercuts, let them go, let them fly. To a degree. You can work out with your partner, talk to each other, give each other feedback on how much energy you want, if the distance right, and all that kind of thing. But basically, try and keep holding the pads flat. What will commonly happen when people are holding pads for straight shots is they start to do this. Because your hands don't do that, do they? That's not ergonomic, that's not normal. They want to do this. This is normal. Now we're back to T-Rexing again. This, T-Rexing. So this happens as well. People drop the hands because they're tired. Keep here, it will strengthen you. Have the arm strength to push forward. They will develop combatively relevant muscles, this dynamic tension is good for your body. So, next thing, duck and cover, okay? The duck or the roll and the cover. I'm drawing a U. Imagine we had a pen here, and I'm going to draw it with my head. That is how I want you to duck. You keep looking forward. Look at the guy's throat, or just underneath it, here, just under the sternal notch, and keep your peripheral vision on his shoulders, down to his hips, here, this square, or that's not a square, is it? It's an oblong, okay? So peripherally, you allow your eyes to look down, but your central focus should be about here, right? So as you're ducking, stay in guard. So there's no reason for us to do a funky guard because it's the street. There's no need for weirdness. We don't need to be fucking weird. We can just do this. Because this guard, right, here, I'm not covering. If I'm ducking, I'm not going to duck and cover. I'm not going to go, hiya, I'm just going to move the target, which is my head. You could put your hands down if you're feeling cocky, but we should do what the boxers do. Just do the same thing, just have your hands ready. So as that shot is coming in, I draw the letter U with my head. And I use my hips, I'm not using my back. This is not that style of boxing, I'm not doing peekaboo boxing. So you can use your back a little bit, but it should be your hips mainly that do it. So come down and under. You see my head's not moving that much. I don't need to go here. It's not a massive letter U like that, it's a little letter U. Here, just enough. And if you really want to get specific on how to do this, try and time the distance so that the pad holder's arm just brushes your hair, just goes over the top of your hair. And you want to be, your head wants to be, say the padman, his hand is here, this is where your head goes. The padman, when you're feeling for the pads, don't fucking flick. It's not a game of, ha, I hit you in the head. Because if you do that, I'll come and hit you in the head. Feed it. Give him the opportunity to train. You'll see how I do it. It's telegraphed. I'm giving you the opportunity to move. If you decide you want to go and do pro boxing, you wouldn't be training with me anyway. So this is all you ever really need to do, is throw a nice obvious shot. Don't try and hit him in the fucking head. When you've got the pads on and you feed the hook, feed it flat. Feed the pad flat this way. Don't turn it this way, because if you hit him in the head with that, you can knock him out. I got partially knocked out recently during a seminar because I told the guy to hit me in the head with the pad, and what I wanted him to do is take the flat of the pad and go donk and hit me in the head. And in his nervous energy, fuck, people are watching me, panic, he chopped right the way around the back with a focus mitt. So you know the edges of them are quite hard, and went bang straight into the back of my neck there. I was like, oh shit. In front of a room full of people for about 2-3 seconds, I was like, don't fall over, and then managed to carry on talking. Okay, so that's the duck. The tie cover. Common mistake people make with the duck is using the back, looking away as they duck, or covering up. Don't do any of this, please. Just look, it's just a hand. As it comes through, just come underneath it. Nice and simple, don't break your form. We don't need you out here just to avoid one punch. So keep your form and duck. When you lay back, it's the same thing, it's minimal movement. So don't make any of those mistakes with the duck. With the tie cover, what people usually do is here, put the palm there, and then their elbow out. No, this is not going to help you. If you get hit and your hand's there and he hits you in the hand, the energy will still go through your skull. You take your hand and you place it, you brush your own hair, and you place it on the back of your skull, because you want to protect here. This is very knockout prone targets. They call it gallbladder 20 in pressure point fighting. They call it gallbladder 20 in pressure point fighting, where I'm pointing to here. Here. So cover it, bang, cover it, and this is not here. It's not here, it's here. My temple, this is now into my temple. It's tight. And the other thing people do, there's a fuck up apart from putting the hand there instead of there, and this instead of this, is they step back. Oops, it's a shot that might hurt me. Please don't do that. Please always step at least a little bit forward and in, and have the aggressive intent to strike into his strike, striking into his strike. And for this video tutorial, I want you to develop a flinch response of, oh shit, something's coming towards my face. You're either here and moving forward, or you're ducking with your hands high, ready to fucking return fire straight away. The last thing I want to talk about is more of a psychological, philosophical thing. You will have opportunities here because we flow from pads into shot placement drills, from pads into slow moving CQC drills. You will have the opportunity here to put in a lot of flowery variety. So your pad man's going to go bang, bang, you're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's going to go still, and you're going to do your CQC. Now at that point it would be incredibly tempting for you to start going, oh, boy, you know, all this fucking weird fancy shit. Don't do that. Pick 3 or 4 things for the CQC range and work them. When you see me do it, I do C-grip, eye gouge, headbutt, elbow, knee. Sometimes you see me do a guillotine as well. And those 6 things, that's all you see me do. So when I'm flowing in CQC, you know, I'm not doing all kinds of weird fancy shit and raising elbows and spinning elbows, and don't do that. Please pick your 4 or 5 core techniques, drill them, drill them, drill them. And don't, for fuck's sake, don't go like this. And once you go from the pads to the CQC, don't go bang, 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 and smash in. The CQC is powerful stuff, and this DVD, this video tutorial, is going to make you appreciate how powerful it is when you motor your body forward properly. When the aggressive intent is there, and you just come forward, let's say you want to do a palm strike and grab the back of the neck at the same time. Very basic CQC stuff. Palm strike, grab, grab and then palm strike. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, you could knock your opponent out, your partner, you'll knock him out. So you must slow down. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, you do your last shot, now, slow, here, but don't switch off. We don't go, mean it. So I'm going slow, but I'm fuck you, I'm smashing your jaw, fuck off, and my brain is going, fucking die, you cunt. But in reality, physically, the amount of contact is that. If you want to go more contact, which has value, and push through, then you may, but you must slow down even more. So slow down. These drills are dangerous. Of course, it's fighting, it's all dangerous. It all has a potential for injury. That's the point, it's delivering injury. So slow down, keep your partner safe. When you do these pad drills for the first time, both of you need to do it super slow first, and you build the speed by increments. Safety first and foremost, please, gentlemen. Thank you.
Drill number 4 is an excellent, very simple little drill called the tie cover drill. The stimulus is your partner throws 4 wide hooks with the pads, you respond with 4 tie covers, and then you deliver 4 straight shots immediately. The tie cover is a very simple move, which will be shown in a moment. The objectives are to drill you from going defensive to offensive very quickly. That's very important to be able to do that in a fight. And you've also got to drill the tie cover as a response. It's one of the most ergonomically efficient and combatively aggressive responses to strikes that are being thrown at you with somebody's hands that you can get. The speed for this drill is medium, don't go too fast. The impact level is high because you're hitting the pads as hard as you can. The symbolic level is high. When I'm talking about symbolism here, I'm talking about relying on pads or external equipment, anything that takes you away from the human body. But you know, we can use the pads, which means we can hit hard and we can move quickly. There's very low amount of improvisation in this drill and only a small amount of resistance. As the drills get more complicated and more advanced, you'll see more improvisation and more resistance develop as we go. The most important thing here is to go from a defensive series of movements into an offensive series of movements, which is exactly what you need to do in a fight. You've got to be able to respond quickly, efficiently, effectively, in a way that is aggressive and that puts, once you've weathered the initial storm of the opponent's attack, that then puts you in a position where you can start hitting back straight away. So here with the pad, we're throwing very wide haymakery style hooks. But you imagine in a street, this could represent anything. This could be a bottle being swung at your head, this could be somebody trying to slap you, or some kind of barroom brawler's wide looping hook. So you're covering up, you're not turning away, you keep moving forward, you drive your elbows forward. You must have the intent to whack the pad with your elbows. It makes it much more effective and drives straight forward. Remember that you're drilling this tie cover, which is an excellent cover, as a natural response, so it becomes second nature to threat, and that you are using a good high degree of impact. It just means you can afford to be hit quite hard and you can punch back quite hard, but you're remembering that the symbolism is high. The reason I want you to remember that is so that you don't get too stuck on feeling good doing these drills. Remember that there are a necessary evil and there are weak elements to using pads. Drill number 5 is the rolling drill. This is a great warm-up drill. Stimulus is 2 hooks, and then you respond by rolling left, rolling right, and delivering a nice short punching boxing style combo. Nice wide hooks fed by the pad man. Don't bother at this level trying to clunk each other in the head with the pads. Just feed nice wide obvious hooks. Let them practice doing their duck, doing their rolling. But basically when you do a roll or you do a duck, you're drawing a U shape with your head. You keep your guard nice and high, chin down, you keep looking at the opponent. There is no pad drill that I show you where when you're punching or responding to strikes that you don't keep looking at your opponent, keep looking forward. So you roll, nice and easy roll, drawing a U with your head, the letter U. When I say you're drawing a U, I'm saying you're drawing the letter U from the alphabet. And then you deliver a nice fast boxing combination that would work in the street. Jab, cross, left hook, uppercut. Nice and simple. All of them potentially knockout shots in the street. This should be pushing you just outside your comfort zone. So if this is a combination is a little bit too easy, then add some elements to it that make it harder. If it's too hard, just stick to the jab cross. Everybody is coming from a different level of expertise and experience with these pad drills. Drill number 6, probably one of my favourite drills, is taking the back. The objectives here are to drill you to switch ranges quickly and with fluidity, to aggressively move forward into the clinch, and to switch from striking to clinching and or restraining. Now, combatives purists will say, well, why would you choose to clinch? Why would you choose to restrain? But the fact is, in modern society, the modern self-protection practitioner is facing a very ambiguous spectrum of antisocial violence. Sometimes it is not going to be the most intelligent response for you to go absolutely nuclear on somebody and beat them to pieces. Sometimes it's better for you to show some restraint, clinch them, and as I'll show you here, you can actually use that as a way of moving them out of the environment if you're a doorman, a policeman, or a psychiatric nurse, or you can actually move to a position where you can choke them unconscious, should you choose to. Very simple, jab cross. Padman throws a nice wide hook. You take the back, you move to a half Nelson. If you want to stick with the half Nelson, you can use that as a good way of restraining somebody or moving them out of the environment. Or you can choose to take that half Nelson into a rear naked choke. When you've taken the back and you have double underhooks and your hands are locked around the person, don't let go of them to do the rear naked choke because they can spin out. So you have to keep that half Nelson as a transitory position. It is awkward and it does take some practice. You can see it is an awkward thing to do, but that half Nelson is a very, very important and powerful position to get to. It's an excellent tool for restraint and it will allow you to link up for the rear naked choke. After you have thrown your jab cross and your partner throws you this nice wide swinging hook or haymaker, step forward with as few steps as you can, take the back. Don't do it with 6 little shuffle steps. You see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do it in just 2 steps. The aggression and forward drive that you can use with your partner, provided they agree to it, is if they have thrown a right-handed hook, you should be looking to drive your right shoulder straight into his liver. Do you see there? Straight into the liver. And then you can step around with your outside foot, in this case my left foot, and you can take the back. Having taken the back, you can take the half Nelson, and from the half Nelson you can either restrain and remove, or you can go into a rear naked choke. Drill number 7 is the jump up drill. The stimulus is you're lying in a prone position. The padman shouts when the drill begins. He says go, you jump up and you deliver your combination. This is an excellent drill to train you to attack without hesitation, and also as a secondary objective to switch between ranges with fluidity. If you ever find yourself struggling to have that immediate, aggressive, violent response, this is an excellent drill. Or if you're an instructor and you have students who hesitate a lot, get them to do this drill. Because the mind then becomes focused, almost like a placebo effect. You distract the mind with the jumping up, and then your body and your mind, your brain become focused on delivering this combination with urgency. The combination I've picked here, this jab, cross, uppercut, knee, and then guillotine, shows you a couple of options that we've got. You know, just by using our imagination with the pads, we can flow from a symbolic range using the pads back to a non-symbolic range of actually working against the human being with this guillotine. The guillotine must be loose. Do not play with each other's necks. So if you're going to do a guillotine, you show it, which means you keep it nice and loose, you put no pressure on, you do not squeeze for a tap. Do not squeeze for a tap. What you see me doing here is after I've fired the knee, I'm pushing him down and into a guillotine, but it's loose. Do you see how much space he has above his neck? There is no pressure on his neck there. I've pulled him forward, sure, but I'm not squeezing his throat and I'm not crushing his neck. Drill 8. Now we move into very street-looking pad drills. This is the offside shove. The stimulus is either a shove from the back or from the side. The most important thing is that you have no visual stimulation. You can't see him. You can even close your eyes to begin this drill. It makes it more awkward. You want to drill an immediate response, the ability to work from awkward angles, and to remove obstacles to targets. That's because that's what will happen in a fight. So the pad man shoves from behind, and then he holds his left pad hand high, so that the guy who is the striker in the drill has to move that left hand down. The combination I've chosen here is 2 right crosses and 2 right elbows. Very simple. This is a very satisfying drill to do, as I'm sure you can see. The look on my face, I look quite happy doing this. This is another good position to go to, by the way, where I've just put my hands over my head. If you're looking for awkward positions, hands over the head is good. Hooking your thumbs into your belt behind your back. Anything that just makes it a little bit more awkward for you. We've got to stop training at optimal ranges. For me, the pad drills shouldn't be a million miles away from what they do in sport combat. The way in which we make it more street relevant is to just make it suboptimal. So we force ourselves to train in not optimal conditions, like being shoved from the back, so that you begin the drill in a semi-state of shock and being completely off balance, which is often how real-world violence will play out. Drill 9, very simple, very powerful. The guard down drill. You just do a simple sequence, but you do it from your guard being down. Everybody wants to start from guard up, but for the street, just do it with your guard down. Now here I'm not even advocating using a fence. I just want you to have the objective in mind of throwing shots from awkward angles and from awkward body positions, and to get you away from being in the comfort zone of always being in your guard. There you can actually see me tell Raj to make it harder for himself, so he crosses his arms. Good idea. Just stand the way you would if you're at a bus stop or something. Crosses his arms. Now the combination that you use here doesn't really matter that much. I've chosen for this level of the drill a jab, a cross, a duck and a left hook. The most important thing here is that you go from an awkward position. So you see I've got my hands in front of me, as you would stand if you're on the door, hands on hips, anything that just makes it a little bit more awkward for you to deliver from. The pad man is still choosing when I go. So he puts his hands up, he puts his pads up and says go. This is very important. You can't always be the one choosing when to go. It will make you lazy, and again it puts you back into the comfort zone. It's one of these bad habits, the many bad habits that people develop when they're doing too much pad work and not enough non-symbolic street focused work. So if you make your pad work that you normally do in the gym, if you just make it a little bit more awkward add some elements of social ambiguity, you can make it much more street effective. Street effective or street Padworks doesn't have to be all swearing and shouting and going into a berserker state of rage and frothing at the mouth. A lot of that stuff is just energy dissipation. You actually won't develop any real, observable, tangible skills over time doing that, and your confidence won't increase. If you train like this, however, the objectives are tight, you're still sticking to observable, objective skill set, and your confidence will surge. Okay, so here's yet another drill that I absolutely love. I keep saying I love these drills, but drill number 10 is the no guard into the freeform CQC. Sounds complicated, but it's really not, and this will take your training to the next level. The key objectives here are that you combine your striking with CQC shot placement drills. Those violence intent drills, the neuro cognitive combative conditioning course, you're going to combine that with your pad work. This will allow you to access tremendous amounts of aggression, but that means that you also need to learn how to control that aggression, because if you don't, you're going to motor straight through your partner's head, and that's not acceptable. So safety first. If you're getting too excited, stop the drill and calm down. It will also give you a lot of free flow to your CQC work, to your close range, to your close quarter combat work. So we start with the simple pads. Jab, cross, left hook, tie cover from a no guard position. Jab, cross, left hook from a no guard position. So I'm not using a guard, I'm not really using a fence. He pops the pads up, I close range. Now after the tie cover, I then am allowed to deliver any 4 to 6 shots I want at that CQC range. Eye gouges, elbows, palm strikes, head controls, knees, groin shots, whatever it is, but I do it nice and slow and safe, the same way we do in the violence intent drills, in those shot placement drills, slowly and safely. Going from high speed striking of the pads to CQC is hard, because you're going from a fast speed to a low speed, from a high impact to a low impact. But the great thing here is you're also going from a high amount of symbolism, i.e. you're hitting the pads, to zero symbolism in in just like a few quarters of a second. So it's really, really good for you. It's really, really good for the whole system, and it will really allow your body to acquire that skills transfer, which is so key to the neurocombative conditioning process. We need to give our bodies and our minds the ability to realize where the skills transfer must take place. So you need to be hitting hard, moving quickly, anchoring and accessing aggression, staying nice and calm, protecting your partner, and after you've delivered your shots, moving straight into that CQC range. Do you see that state change there? 1 second Raj was smiling and laughing, and the next second he's straight back to business, raw aggression. This is what you need to develop, guys. This is the kind of work style that you need to develop. So from a no guard position, nice simple combination of strikes, any one of which could be a knockout shot, use of the tie cover, closing the distance with a C grip, headbutt, elbow, eye gouge, palm, head control, knee, whatever you want. Go slowly. Having immediately just hit the pads, bang, 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 you're going to be hot-blooded, you're going to be excited, your adrenaline's going to be up. So you need to go fast and then immediately go slow again. Can't emphasize enough how important it is that you really focus on safety for this drill. But the combination of fast and then slow, of symbolic and then non-symbolic, of high power and then low power is really going to allow you to develop some excellent tools in terms of your skills transfer, and you'll really feel the benefits of this drill. So drill 11 is called the front shove drill, and basically your padman is going to shove you in your chest and then throw a nice wide looping hook. The objectives here are to drill from a shove and to respond immediately, aggressively and skillfully from a very common antisocial psychological attack, because when somebody shoves you in the chest, they're not trying to kill you. They might be trying to intimidate you or to put you into a negative emotional and physical position so that they can then launch a preemptive strike. So because this is such a common attack that comes from an argument, you need to learn to be very comfortable being shoved in the chest and then responding with immediate and specific action. Obviously, you should have had a fence up and you should have been delivering a preemptive strike, but even monkeys fall out of trees. So again, we're just working our standard pad drill, something nice and simple and aggressive, but complicated enough that you are actually working some fine motor skills in there as well. Keeps you under pressure, keeps you moving, keeps you stressed. Should be awkward and stressful. The more awkward and stressful your pad work drills are, then the better they're preparing you for the street, because it is an awkward and stressful experience. Try and respond with cold aggression, cold focused aggression. Hit your targets precisely and deliver with violent intent. When I say aggression and violent intent, you're not going absolutely berserk and frothing at the mouth. It's cold, focused aggression. And you need to be able to switch it on and switch it off. If this were the real world, and this first punch had knocked the guy off balance or into a wall or something, and he really didn't have anything left, and he was ready to stop, then it would be wrong and probably illegal of you to carry on with the other strikes that I showed there. Drill 12, a beautiful drill. The offside shove into CQC. The stimulus is an offside shove, which means it's coming in from the side or from the rear. You can't see it, and your response is going to be to deliver something plain and simple, followed by some free-form CQC. This forces you to go from a purely symbolic range of working with the pads into a range of zero symbolism where you're working on the human being. The objectives are to get you to work from awkward positions, to flow from your concussive strikes like punches, headbutts and elbows into the CQC range, and to switch aggression on and off rapidly. Please note, your speed, contact and impact all go from high to low, zero to high to low, very, very quickly. This adds to the awkwardness, it adds to the stress, and basically prepares you in a psychological and emotional way for the overwhelming sensory stimulus that you can expect during real world violence. So it gets you used to these altered emotional states. See me messing around there. Not supposed to be messing around during these drills. I mean, you can have a laugh as long as you know how to switch it on and switch it off, switch it on and switch it off, and keep things in context and keep it appropriate. If you never use any violent intent and you never get serious and you never alter your psychological state, you're wasting your time training, because it is fundamentally a psychological and emotional experience first.
Yeah.
The click in his jaw. Sorry, lads.
At all times you need to keep your training partner safe. These drills, you will find these drills really enjoyable. You should find them quite, I was going to say exciting. And what I mean by exciting is that they actually get your adrenaline up. That they actually, you know, a lot of people struggle to raise their aggression. Well, this should do it quite naturally. If anything during these drills, you should find it more of a struggle to keep your aggression down. Raju flowing through some nice strikes there, a nice sequence, you did well. But at all times you must protect your partner. So what you saw me do before is I actually tapped him in the jaw with my elbow. That's okay, you know, as long as his mouth is closed, it'll be okay. And it's good for him to get knocked around a little bit as well, as it will be good for you to have your partner very occasionally whack you around the jaw, around the you know, you'll get whacked around the temples, around the eye. Occasionally you'll take one in the nose. It's all part of the conditioning. Not that you can condition your face, you cannot, but you can condition yourself emotionally to take shots without breaking down. The problem can be if you very seldom get hit ever or face violence, then, you know, the merest punch to the jaw in the street might be so shocking that you psychologically shut down and panic, and we don't want that. You've got to an extent, I want you to have the capacity to be able to walk through weak shots.
I like that sequence. Can you remember it? Go again. It's like an awkward raising palm strike rolling into an outward. Made that up. Some good shit right there.
Apply pressure, constant pressure.
Constant fucking aggressive pressure.
So one of the things that can happen to all of us is we can become technique nerds. You start worrying about what technique to do next, what's the correct technical response and everything else. Try and just let it flow. You know, be safe, let it. If you're brand new to this, you will not be flowing as quickly as we are. Give yourself the time and space to develop the skills, but once you've gotten used to doing this, and it will take months in order for that to happen, you'll find your body producing techniques for you. Just keep to the principles. Please make sure that you begin and end all of your pad sessions with the violent intent shot placement drill. This is where the contact is high, the speed is low, you must slow down and keep everybody safe, and the symbolism is 0. So that basically means you're working on a human being and not on pads. This is very good for you, because in the street, this is how it will play out. You want your visual field and your kinesthetic stimulus, you want it to look like, feel like, and sound like it will be in the street. And pads take you away from that. So this is a good way to come back to a non-symbolic form of training, though it is slow.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video tutorial. If you've got any questions or feedback at all, don't hesitate to get in touch. If you're not clear about what you're doing in any of the drills, just stop, just get in touch with me. It's all very easy and quick to explain. Plus I usually answer most emails within about 12 hours. So, you know, I'm easily contactable. Don't just fly blind here. Please do stick to the specific objectives for each drill as they've been given to you. And please also stick to the specific factors for each drill as they've been given to you. Don't freestyle too much at this level. We will be doing more of that kind of thing in the future. One of the things you'll have noticed is you can take the stimulus from most drills and apply it to the response to most drills, and I would like you to do that. I.e., you can take the stimulus of drill number 7 and apply it, you know, mesh it together with the response to drill number 11, say. So that means, you know, you can take any combination that you want and apply it to any stimulus. So you can be creative in that regard. But keep things tight, keep it focused, and please train safe. Do not underestimate the power of these drills. Don't underestimate the power of flowing from hitting hard into that CQC range. That is dangerous. So please respect your partners and take care of each other at all times. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. If you've got any questions or feedback, it's Richie at streetfightsecrets.com, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.